Right, hi YouTube. This is my first venture into YouTube properly. I did a little video before about setting fire to a friend's phone after it died. It was a very strange night at university. Anyway, this is meant to be a response to Lindybeige or Lloyd on his video A Point About Lighting Fires. So got a few points I'd like to make in response or whatever. It's about, what time is it? It's 20 to 4 in the morning on a Friday night, raining, so apologies for any scruffiness and generally looking a bit dead. Write something, say, right, what? Yes, if I keep looking down, because I have some vague notes on here. They are very vague, so I'll probably still forget what I meant to be saying. And if you're wondering about why my wall looks incredibly strange and shiny in a mix of medieval and spaceship, I'm basically living in a shed in my garden and I'm halfway through insulating it. I keep finding better things to do, like staying up all night and attempting videos. And it's raining. I think I heard you mention that, didn't I? Yes, and we've been having a few nasty storms quite recently, so if my roof flies off halfway through, could be fun. Anyway, fire. I actually have a note just saying fire! Big exclamation mark. Anyway, probably be better to just sort of give a main gist of the points that Lloyd makes, and then just kind of list them off first, because I have a terrible habit of rambling and going off completely off subject. So if I list them first, at least I'll kind of have the points I want to make out there, so I can just ramble about and hope I get there. So, first main thing he says, well, be better off watching the video, but it's just a reminder. Yeah, Lloyd argues that firelighting was a lot harder then than it is now. Nearly argued that, I'm not going to. And, well, he kind of says it's a lot easier to light a match now than it would be to light a fire using historical methods, which, fair enough. You wouldn't generally let a fire go out, makes sense, and he says about carrying fire with you, sort of keeping embers in a pot and transporting them with the marching army or whatever. And he suggests that there are a high number of people who didn't have the means or the knowledge of how to light fires. So he goes, let's start from the start again. Says that firelighting was a lot harder then than it is now. Yes, I think for us it would definitely be a lot harder, but at the same time they didn't really have matches or lighters to compare that to. Even matches and lighters are terrible at times, and matches get a bit soggy and they don't do anything. Lighters run out, bits like that, so everything has its limitations. But with reenactments I've been playing around with lighting fires because I'm a bit of a pyrotechnic maniac. I've found that yes, the first few attempts, which generally are the ones that most people sort of base their assumptions on, were quite difficult because it was a new thing. I was trying to work out how the hell to make sparks and put sparks into stuff and make stuff turn into flames. So that is quite difficult. After a fair bit of practice, I've kind of pretty much got it set. So I think I can sort of build a fire in the same time that it would take someone else to do it if they had a box of matches and maybe a firelighter or something. There's it's less about sort of the means of lighting it and more the preparation, if that makes any sense. I don't think it actually does, but I'm tired. So if you take the time beforehand to find some decent tinder, so fluffy stuff that'll catch easily, and I use char cloth. I'm not entirely sure the historical accuracy of that, but there were plenty of other sort of fungi and stuff that you could use instead that does the same thing as char cloth. You use tinder, you'd split your wood down, so you start off with basically matchsticks and sort of build it up from there. You know, feather sticks work very well. You just kind of scrape the end of the stick until it all feathers up. I'm not going to show you. Got a random piece of wood in my bed. Cars. So yeah, if you take the time to prepare it properly and make sure you have different sizes of wood, then it'll be a lot easier to make. I mean, you have to remember that lifestyles today are a lot more hectic and kind of high paced, and everyone has to be done now. Where in the Middle Ages, or all through history, they had a lot more time on their hands, so they wouldn't really think twice, I don't think, about sort of taking the time to split wood into smaller pieces and going around gathering sort of tinder as they're going off doing something else. So I think they'd have the time to prepare a fire properly, and it would be a lot easier to light it then. You know, I've seen people where I've lit a fire faster than them because they've just got a big pile of logs, dump it, oh it needs to be smaller, split it, put it on, stick a couple of firelighters on, drop a box of matches in, and then it goes up, big flames, then it goes out, because it hasn't really got a basis, it's just burning firelighters on top of a pile of wood. So there's definitely a lot in actually building the fire properly. I've just realised I go massively off tangents, but hopefully I'll come full circle and it'll all make sense. So I don't think that firelighting was a lot harder then than it is now. It's just sort of different ways, and you take a bit more time to prepare it than you necessarily would now, because you're used to pressing a button, cooker flares up in big blue flames and cooks your food nicely. His next point was that you wouldn't let a fire go out if you could help it. Yeah, I pretty much agree with that. I found at reenactments before, if you stick on, we call it a night log, a big log, let it smoulder away, and in the morning you come out, find a few embers hidden in the ashes, blow on it, and you've got fire again. Quite easy. And if you could, you carry fire with you, but again, that has its limitations. You know, you've had campfires where it's rained during the night and put the fire completely out, because we don't tend to like keeping fire under canvas for obvious reasons. So sometimes fires go out, and as you said, if there's a freak wind going through your house, quite likely in mine, and it blows out all your fire, you would need to know how to relight it. I mean, you can't always rely on sort of your neighbours having fire, and they could be out. Not sure if medieval people really went out very much, not sure, but there could be different things sort of stopping you getting fire from somewhere else. So it's not always practical or reasonable to expect to be able to get fire from someone else if yours goes out. I mean, if you can, crack on, why wouldn't you? But you can't really rely on that. So then he says as well that in his opinion, a lot of people wouldn't have known how to light fires or have the means to. I mean, I think everyone has the means to, really, because there was plenty of wood around, and even if you didn't have a flint and steel, a bow drill isn't too impossible to make. I mean, I haven't actually done a bow drill myself because I've got flint and steel, but it's something I've been meaning to try, so maybe that'll be a project for another video, maybe? But yeah, I mean, the mechanics of it seem fairly simple, so even if you're just out in the woods with a knife, sorry, it's a new toy today, so even if you're out stuck in the woods with a knife, you could make fire quite easily. It would take a bit of time, but you could do it. So I think in the medieval world, or even today, making fire is kind of one of those basic things that you need to know how to do if you're going to survive. Because if you're at home and you have a fire going, then that's great, carry on, whatever. But if that fire goes out and you can't get it lit again, then you're kind of stuck if you can't light a fire, and you wouldn't go very far. It's like a bit of a strange comparison, but it's almost like saying, right, I'm going to live off takeaways and kind of food bought from the shops, and that's fine. And then suddenly, for some strange reason, every takeaway in the world closes, something like that, or pre-made food is banned under our strange government, something like that. Just go with it. and you have to learn to make food for yourself. If you don't know how to make a sandwich, then you're pretty screwed. And this is definitely stretching the metaphor a bit, but I do think that if you don't know how to do something as basic as that, you're pretty screwed. So if you can't make food for yourself, you're buggered. And if you can't really make fire to cook it, then you're also buggered. I mean, as a cadet instructor, I'm trying to push for the cadets to learn how to make fires without having to use matches or lighters, or even with matches and lighters, and showing them how to actually build one. So I'm massively going off tangent, and I've run out of notes, which is cool. So yeah, I think a lot more people would have known how to make fires and would have made them a lot more often than I think Lloyd thinks. I don't know if he's watching this. I keep referring to you in sort of the third person, second. I won't refer to you in the first because that'd be weird. So if you're watching, whatever. I'm in a strange mood. So yeah, I think people would have lit a lot more fires than sort of keeping them, because the best will in the world is sometimes impossible to keep a fire going all the time. So yes, we're up to 11 minutes 30 something. Don't know if that's going to be the actual time on the video. I'll probably cut some of the stupidness out. It's my third attempt at making this video. So yes, my first video, so maybe I'll make some more. If I do, I'll probably move on from the shitty little webcam in the top of my laptop that's just sat there staring at me, and might actually get a real camera. And I don't know what the sound's like on this because I can't hear myself as I'm talking, other than the usual way. So I have a microphone that's quite decent, so I might pull that out for future videos if it needs it. I don't know what the rain's like on there, so yes. Goodbye.